tying a figure 8 knot at the end of your hammock. So you're going to grab on to the fabric, and you want about a 3-foot tail. So right now it's 3 feet, but once we wrap this, our tail will be around 1 foot. We have once you have tied the knot, there's a minimum of 6 inches that you need to have the tail. And typically, I like to do it between 6 inches and 12 inches. But if you have a longer hammock and you're trying to make a shorter, if you have a long hammock and you want to make it shorter, you might have a longer tail, and that is okay too. But you're going to make sure that you always have a minimum of 6 inches on your tail. So right now I have about a 3-foot tail, and I'm holding on to the hammock. My thumb is underneath, and I'm letting the tail hang over onto the left. I'm going to stay holding on with my right hand at the top of the hammock, and now with my left I'm going to grab onto both sides and gather it, and I'm going to slide it down so it's nice and tight. So I have my left hand in front of me and my right hand is above my head, and from here I'm going, and I slide down, about 1.5 feet. For me, it's usually, I'm reaching up above my head, my left hand is straight in front of my shoulder. So from here, I'm going to switch. So now I'm going to bring my right down and my left up. And I bend my elbow just to help me wrap. I'm going to wrap this end around 1.5 times. And so where my thumb is entering into this loop is where I'm going to bring this bottom loop and bring it through this hole. You can see, bringing the bottom loop through that top loop. And now I will have a loop on the top right here, and I have a tail. To tighten it, you're going to pull down on the tail and pull down on the top loop for your figure 8. Again, this tail should be a minimum of 6 inches. You also don't want this loop too long, as it's kind of a waste of fabric. So I like to keep it small, but at least big enough for a carabiner to get through. The next step would be to open up your auto-locking carabiner and bring through the loop. So now you have the carabiner attached, and the carabiner can now get attached to your daisy chain so you can change your hammock height. All right, I'm going to also show you how to tie the figure 8 knot with the carabiner already in it, so you don't have to go through that second step. And some people find that it's easier to tie the figure 8 knot with the carabiner already in it. Once you have tied both of your knots and you've put all your gear on and you're ready to set it up, make sure that you attach everything correctly, which I'll show you a little later, and then make sure you put some weight into it, because when you first put your weight into it, the knot will tighten a little bit, and so it might sink down a little bit lower because it's tightening, and it's best for you to do that before you begin your practice. So let's take this figure now out. So I'm really going to pull this top loop over, and it unwinds. So now to tie the figure 8 knot with the carabiner already attached, we're going to start the same way, but instead of having your thumb underneath holding on, that's where the carabiner is going to be. So again, I still have that about 3-foot tail, and I'm going to attach the carabiner into the fabric. So holding on to the fabric, I'm holding on to the carabiner now instead of the fabric. And I still have my 3-foot tail. Grabbing on with my left hand, I'm going to grab both ends and slide my hand down to create some tension. And then switch, top hand goes down, bottom hand goes up, a little bend of the elbow to help me wrap around. And this bottom one wraps around 1.5 times. So it goes through that hole where my thumb was, and I'm going to bring the carabiner through. So bringing that carabiner through, pulling that top loop down to bring that bottom loop up, and then tightening it by pulling down on my tail. So this definitely saves space too, because my loop on top is very small. It's actually only big enough for the carabiner, but a lot of people find that bringing that loop through is a little bit easier because of the hard carabiner, and it goes through and makes a nice tight figure 8 knot. Again, you would then attach your carabiner to your daisy chain. I have one more option for you. Instead of attaching the figure 8 knot to a carabiner, we can attach it to an O-ring. This is going to take a little bit more space, so you would need to have enough ceiling height to be able to do this, but it will protect the fabric from ever getting caught into the carabiner when you're opening and closing it. So it's a little tricky because it fits just barely, but we're going to take the O-ring and try and put our fabric inside of it. So we got to like push it through. And then we need to pull our tail all the way through. And again, instead of having my thumb holding it, now I have this O-ring holding it. And we're going to do just the same thing. Grab on with the other hand, create that tension pulling down, switch top hand down, bottom hand up, wrapping 1.5 times, bottom loop goes through that top loop. Pull it through by pushing down the fabric and pulling the O-ring through, tightening by pulling down on the tail. So now we have our figure 8 knot with the O-ring. You would then attach your auto-locking carabiner into the O-ring, and then you could attach your carabiner to your daisy chain to move it up and down to change your hammock height. As you can see now, it's not touching the fabric, so it does have an opportunity to protect the fabric and give your hammock a longer life. And you won't have to worry about it getting caught in the gauge when you're opening and closing it.